Good. I'll call this meeting to order at 6:31, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Lofgren.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ott.
Here.
Trustee Counterman.
Here.
Trustee Doherty.
Here.
Trustee Jeffrey.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Trustee Buck. Absent. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is approved. The next item is audience business, and I don't believe there were any speaker slips. There was none? Okay. So no public comments tonight. The next item is the consent agenda for the benefit of the audience. The items on the consent agenda tonight are the payment approval report in the amount of $229,817.31. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
A motion is second. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Trustee Ott.
Yes.
Trustee Counterman.
Abstain.
Trustee Doherty.
Yes. Aye.
Yes, and the motion carries 5-0 to 1. 501. The next item is the swearing in of our new police officer, Albert Castillo. If you would please. Come on up here because they're going to do photos. Repeat after me, please. I state your name, do solemnly swear and affirm
I, Albert Castillo, do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will
that I will
support, protect, and defend
support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States of America,
the Constitution and government of the United States of America,
the Constitution and government of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and government of the State of Colorado,
and the ordinances, resolutions, and laws of the town of Lockbowie,
and the ordinances, resolutions, and laws of the town of Lockbowie,
against all enemies, whether foreign or domestic.
against all enemies, whether foreign or domestic.
I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance,
and loyalty to the same,
and loyalty to the same,
and I will accept all of the responsibilities
and I will accept all of the responsibilities
and faithfully perform all of the duties
and faithfully perform all of the duties
of the office of police officer to which
of the office of police officer to which
I have been duly appointed,
I have been duly appointed,
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. That was the big ceremony.
Next item on the agenda is the financial update, but I do not see Mr. Green, so.
Here tonight. He had an out-of-town commitment. Thank you.
Okay. Then the next item on the agenda is the action items. The action item on tonight's agenda is resolution number 2019-10. Mr. Matlos, I think this is you.
Good evening, Alan Matlos with First Big Law. Thank you so much.
Button on your microphone. There you go.
Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight. Not my usual topic, so I saw a lot of construction activity going on, so that's good news. There used to be a program called the Metro Mayor's Down Payment Assistance Program, and last year there was a proposal out to try to make it better, and George K. Baum was hired. It's a totally different group in the company. I'm just here because I know people in Lockbowie. That's the reason I showed up. And it's a program to assist with down payments for people buying houses. And in the old days, this used to be only new first-time homeowners and only people with certain varied limitations. The program's been expanded, and so you don't have to be a first-time homeowner. You can have incomes up to $139,000. It's really a broad program, and it just gives another tool for mortgage lenders to use. the attorneys, and nothing bad about attorneys, just want to make that comment, just kidding, have determined that every jurisdiction in the metro area, if they want to participate, has to approve it separately. So as you can imagine, this is quite a task. I think we're up to 35. I did check in Weld County so far, the only communities that have approved it are Firestone, Dacono, and Greeley. So if you decide to go ahead, that would be the fourth in Weld County. But it's just another program to provide down payment assistance. And the way this works is there's a 3-year forgivable loan that creates the 3, 4, 5, or now 6% down payment assistance. And so the interest rates is slightly higher. So a little bit of your interest goes to pay that back. And then after 3 years, that is gone and you have your down payment. It's one of the big impediments to home ownership is coming up with the money for the down payment. This is a way to help. So that's the program. I'd be happy to answer the questions the best I can.
Trustee Morris?
Can you expand on that, your last statement about how it's funded or paid for? You just mentioned the interest is higher.
Right.
Which goes to pay
down that amount that went to the down payment. So let's say it's a $300,000 mortgage and it was a 3% down payment, so that's $9,000. So this math is not going to be perfect, so you have to bear with me. So let's say you paid an extra, $100 a month on your mortgage. That would go to pay down that down payment. So the idea is the payment's a little bit higher, but it's easier than having to come up with the money for the down payment. So.
What would happen if a home buyer defaulted on that within a year or two? Or
I think it's the same. They would owe it. They'd have the same consequences if they defaulted on any mortgage. So that would be that other piece would still be out there within the 36-month period.
The wheels are
Sure.
turning here. They
No,
just
I understand.
slower in my head than
No, it's
most
okay.
people.
So just, I'll talk for a minute, maybe another question, but the idea is, since this has been rolled out, and I'm not in the housing group, so I'm just trying to gather information. Since this has been rolled out earlier this year, I think like $25 million in mortgages have been made through this program across the metro area. That's not, it's a lot, but it's not a lot when you think of how big the metro area is. Last year, my understanding with the old program, it was like 5 million. So we're kind of excited that this is catching on and a lot of the mortgage lenders are looking to make sure this is available. So what happens is you buy a house, you go to your mortgage lender and they say, here are some of the programs available. And then they look to see if this program is available in your community. They use it, don't use it. It may not fit for everybody. It's just another option. Just like you may qualify for a VA loan or you may qualify for something else.
Can you elaborate on the brochure? Two things that stand out. One, it references grant money. Could you comment on that? And then the second thing, if you don't mind, under the basics, it comments on a 3-year forgivable second lien. So help me understand that, especially in light of what you explained about an increased interest rate to help pay that back.
Right. So that's the down payment part. I'll ask the second part first. The down payment part is the second lien. So it's like a second mortgage. If you get a house, people borrow that. And that's what gets forgiven over 36 months. So for 36 months, you have a second mortgage. And then as long as you stay in the house for 36 months, that second mortgage goes away. Yeah.
Can you use that to get your down payment up to 20% so you don't have to pay PMIs?
Well, this is only 3, 4, up to 6%. So if you had the other, if you had the other 14%, yes, then you would not have to have private mortgage insurance. And then the grant program, I think, is an additional program for certain lower income borrowers. So applies to some people, but not everybody. And I can get more information on grant programs. I didn't prepare for that comment, so I apologize.
I may have more questions later and a few comments, but I'll relinquish the floor.
Anyone else? Okay.
Right back to me?
Yeah,
back to
if
you.
you have anything else.
Okay. I am by no means a financial expert.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
not a very smart man. I have concerns, and these may be misplaced. They may be way out in left field. But 10 or 15 years ago, we got into serious trouble in the country with the government pushing for, and I forget all the specifics and technicalities, but I think it was a subprime
Right.
mortgage situation where
Correct,
we were
correct.
encouraging and
Right.
forcing people into homes and loans that they shouldn't have been in. And while I am definitely in favor of encouraging and helping people get a home loan, this, to me, raises some red flags. It causes me concern that we may be encouraging people to get into a situation where in 1 or 2 or 3 years, they may be defaulting. Maybe, maybe not. I don't
Right.
understand the full
Right.
depth of it, but I'm concerned about that. And if we're doing programs that help some people get into a home, are we doing anything to help the people who do make more than 139,000? Is there benefit for them? Is there a program that would help somebody who's above that limit?
Right.
And that might be more rhetorical, but
Right, so I think the two things. First is that this program doesn't end up qualifying people that wouldn't have qualified under the mortgage standards anyway. So this isn't like a subprime program where these are worse credits. You have to qualify under the normal mortgage standards, and then this program is available. So it's not like it's going to the worst risky borrowers. They still have to meet all the credit score and all those income requirements and things like that. So that's still on the table. That doesn't change. This is just a way to get the down payment part. And then I think the reason of the 139, it's a calculation based on median household income. And then the other answer is I think generally people over $140,000 in income can get a mortgage and find their money. So that's the answer to that.
okay.
But I will acknowledge that being concerned about not making sure we go in that same direction as we, our memories are short sometimes on history, so we don't want to do the same thing that was done before. Absolutely.
I may need to think about this for a little bit, but I'll surrender the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thoughts are it's a great, oh, go ahead, trustee Jeffrey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to clarify, the way you explained it to me, it sounded like the increased interest rate would go to pay back that second lien, but the flyer says it's a forgivable lien. So are you actually paying back the down payment assistance by that higher interest rate going towards paying it off? Or because you're getting that higher percentage, or you're getting that down payment assistance, you have a little bit higher interest rate, but you never pay back that
Well,
assistance?
I mean, I guess, yeah, I think that.
You see where I'm?
Yeah, no, I understand, right. So the money, there's no other money, right? So that's the first thing. So it's not like there's some pot of money that's coming from somewhere to provide this. So it has to come from the loan itself. So that's how it comes from the loan, right? So there's slightly higher interest rate. That means that loan has value above the market, and that extra is the amount that's generated to make the payment. So it's math, but I guess it's the same math.
I just take issue with the word forgivable, because
not the same.
mathematically, to me, and I have a degree in math, that means I'm not paying it, when in actuality, we are.
Right, but I think the question is, regardless of how, as I understand the program, regardless of how long you're in, after 3 years, it's gone.
Any other questions or concerns? Trustee Counterman? Oh, sorry.
I guess I'm even more ignorant than this gentleman, but what
Reaching for a new low here, folks.
what is our participation?
There's no participation. The statutes, according to the smart attorneys that are working on this, state that every community have to allow this as a lending vehicle in their community. There's no money spent by the town, there's no money coming to the town, there's no expense. It's just that if you want this to be an option for home borrowers, you have to approve this resolution. That's really what it is. So you're not doing anything. It's each individual community has to approve it, so.
For the mortgage lenders to be able to do this with the, okay.
Right, so,
Thank you.
so right now, if good idea, bad idea. Right now, if someone's borrowing in Dacono, they could use the program. If they're borrowing in Frederick, they can't.
Trustee Ott?
What it is.
Okay, so let me see if I can put this in simpler terms. You take out a mortgage loan, the rate you would normally get is 4.25%. They bump it to 4.5% to pay this back. Then for 36 months, let's say hypothetically, you pay $100 a month extra.
Right.
So you paid back $3,600 of your $9,000. Then the loan is forgiven and your payment drops, or you keep.
I think the payment's the same, yeah. But you could refinance it at that point in time.
So who gets the extra 0.25%? The lender?
The lender is putting up the money for the down.
Lenders, so they get paid back over the long term anyhow. Okay, so basically, it's not forgiven after 36 months if the interest rate doesn't drop. I mean, you can say it's forgiven, but it's really
I think what's true is if you refinanced, you're only refinancing the original amount.
original amount, but if you
Yeah.
keep with the same lender,
Right,
it's.
right. So I think the opportunity is to refinance if rates go down.
No, that explains it. I just wanted to make, because you said it's forgiven, but how is it forgiven? So if you stay with the same lender, it's not forgiven. They just put it in their pocket.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, and I don't mean to, this was drafted by somebody that probably spent a lot of time on the words, but I think the idea is that there's no other place for the money to come from, right? So it has to come from the loan part. It's just a.
Well, that's fine. It
moving
just
yeah.
explains it.
No, I understand.
Makes it clear
Absolutely.
where,
Yep,
yes, it does, but no, it doesn't. Just-
yeah. Absolutely.
Chris?
Don't let trustee Counterman fool us. He is really, really sharp, but he's also very humble. As it stands right now, I am opposed to this. I would really like some of my fellow trustees and board members, their comments and their insights, so I can have a little bit more information.
Clarify for me, does the interest rate go down after the 3 years?
No, I believe it does not.
So they're going to continue to make money even after that down payment's paid back?
Well, that's what I said, the loan's forgiven, but it's not forgiven.
Yeah, thank you.
Point from the mathematician.
And I can get this back to you if that's helpful. I don't, again, I thought it'd be better for me to come than someone that doesn't know you, but maybe that was a mistake. Should have had the home loan people come.
So the extra $100 a month for the 36 months, after the 36 months is over, does that $100 a month drop off?
No, I think it doesn't. But I think what I'm saying is that after 36 months, if the down payment amount was $9,000, the $9,000 goes away. So if you refinance the loan at that point in time, you would make the $5,500, $5,400 difference.
Good answer to trustee Morris. The same standards are in effect that went into effect when the housing market crashed in 09, 10, right? So they didn't change the standards. They're just assisting in down payment. What they were doing before is they were getting people into homes with no down payment, or little or no down payment. And of course, they had no vested interest in the home, I guess is the best way to put it. So if it went back, no big deal, okay? Whereas this way, they have to come up with part of the down payment out of their own pocket. This is an assistance program. This is not a complete
Right. The
assistance program. It's not a down payment program. In other words, if they want to get the no PMI, they have to go up with the 14%, and they provide the other 6% if you want to avoid the mortgage insurance. So I don't have a problem with it.
If I may, the other thing, of course, during the downturn is that it was more than just that. There were no documentation loans. There was all kinds of terrible stuff. I'll give you a little anecdote. So I bought a house in 08. We went to our friendly mortgage broker, and we gave him the information, and then he told us what we were qualified to borrow. And I was like, that's insane. No one should lend me that kind of money. So we borrowed a third of what we were authorized to borrow. But that was our choice. Other people could have borrowed the whole thing, and that was the problem, right? But similar programs have been going on through CHAFA and other programs. So, I mean, they have standards, and as I understand it, the default rate on these is actually pretty low, but that doesn't mean it couldn't have a problem in the future, absolutely. I think that's the risk of borrowing money and buying a house. I mean, all of us face that.
I support this, and the reason I do is this is meant to help people that will qualify for mortgages anyway, just get into the house a little bit faster, so that you don't spend 2 years renting while saving $500 a month to get a down payment. Instead, you can buy today, and all of that money you're throwing towards rent goes towards a mortgage payment for those 2 lost years. So that's why I support it. Anyone else? I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 2019-10, a resolution authorizing and approving the town's participation in the Metro Mortgage Assistance Plus program and authorizing the execution of the delegation and participation agreement and other documents in connection therewith.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Counterman.
Yes.
Trustee Morris.
No.
Mayor Lofgren.
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Ott. Trustee Jeffrey.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1. Next item is discussion items and update on the MOU. I thought I was going to have more to tell you guys. All I really have to tell you tonight is it looks like we are good to go with Brighton. They have started advertising us as a sponsor on the Camp Out event and I believe on various other events. They are communicating with staff, being Steve and Linda, about how to get us banners and things to include in our newsletter. So everything appears to be going well with that and moving forward as we had hoped. So that's all I had on that, unless anyone has any questions for me or for staff. Trustee Doherty?
Maybe it just went through, and maybe I'm not remembering the right document, but I want to say that I remembered seeing a flyer for the Camp Out event at the rec center, and it didn't have the Town of Lochbuie's logo on it at all. Were we specific, and if we weren't, I think we should be, that since we are giving money to this event, it's not just like articles that are circulated around Lochbuie that should have our logo. I mean, this is a co-sponsored event. So anything throughout Brighton or wherever they publish should have both logos.
Yeah, my understanding is they're updating that. That was the original version, yeah.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured, but it just sparked my memory, so thanks.
Anyone else? Is they're updating, the original flyer they had posted didn't have any sponsors listed, and now it's going to be updated with our logo. And I know their Facebook page for the event has added our logo. Okay. Anything from staff on that? Cool. Next item on the agenda is staff comments. Chief McCoy.
So we've increased activities, increased a little bit, that's what's happening this time of year for us. So that is happening. Don't have any real, anything really of any value to add other than that, other than Community Service Officer Welch is working on the weeds and abating property that are not coming into compliance. So we're saying send out certified. So he leaves the warnings on the doors. If he can't contact anybody, if he can, he'll write citations. But if he can't contact people, which is the case sometimes, then he will send certified, first priority mail letters and then also certified letters to the address. And once we get the return of that, either the certified mail is returned not deliverable or it's returned that they signed for it after a certain period of time, then we'll have the property abated. We don't think we've had to do any yet, but I think there's one that looks like it might be going that direction right now. So we are working on it. It's pretty hard to keep up with some of the weed issues this time of year, especially with all the moisture that we've had. So I don't think I have much else other than Officer Castillo, who you just met. So him and his family, first time I met them too. So that's all I got, unless anybody's got any questions.
Questions or comments for Chief? Thank you for your update. Public Works.
Good evening, thanks. Things are going well. We're full staff, which means four full regular staff members in Public Works. Everything's going well, mowing on schedule, we're staying busy. Our biggest challenge really in the summertime is guys taking off and trying to backfill. Smaller crew, that's our biggest challenge. Otherwise, we're plugging along. Hydrant flushing on schedule. Did our backflow testing for the year. Testing all the generators this week and next week. Started collecting points for pipes and valves and with our new GPS unit, and so that's going well. You've probably seen no parking signs if you live in Old Town and some of the other neighborhoods. Vance Brothers started doing the pavement work, and that started. I did issue a change order for that project. I just pulled back and scaled back on the slurry in Old Town, and specifically, we started poking around in the cracks in the street, and it turned out they're bigger than we thought. So, issued a change order. We'll price slurry that neighborhood next year. This year we crack sealed, and they're actually doing this today and tomorrow is grouting the bigger cracks with mastic, which is really like crack seal except has aggregate in it. So it's cheaper than patching it, but it's a good product. So they've been doing that this week. We had a pre-conference with Lac Bowie Center folks, and that's the developer to the south. Lac Bowie Center is the commercial piece of that property. Met with Fiore and Sons, who will be doing that work. You've probably seen the green pipes. That's the sewer pipe that they laid out this week, demobilized. They'll also be connecting the water. Actually, we discussed that. Initially, we kind of thought that Asphalt Specialties will be doing that connection on Bonanza and Wagon Trail, but it makes sense for those guys to do it. And they'll be connecting on Bonanza Wagon Trail as soon as Asphalt Specialties tears out the asphalt and they can cross with their pipes. On the back, I included the County Road 2 Whiting project. Before you look at that, I think this afternoon we got the full okay to advertise for the roundabout project from CDOT, finally. It was a lengthy project and process, rather. Hopefully not a lengthy project, but so they issued a full approval to advertise. We'll be advertising in this Thursday. And if everything goes well, both of those projects will complete by the end of the year. That's the plan. So that's what I have. Any have any questions?
Gunnerman?
Is there a specific reason that we water our parks and greenways during the heat of the day and the wind of the day versus the cool of the evening?
There isn't, and I think you're referring to Leosac, right, on Bonanza. We had a pump, the pump went out this week. And the controller went out, which is, it's set to water overnight. It's always been set that way. So, and I'm always cautious about not paying attention to those things, but I'm always cautious about that park and Lockwood, but, so we hand watered during the day for a few days. We posted a notice in the window here that we'll be doing some daytime watering in that park. I actually did get a quote in there to fix the PLC controller for the pump house. That actually is not potable water. I don't know if you knew, but it comes from the well, directly from the well on Bonanza. So it's not treated water. It's raw water. Nonetheless, it's meant to water overnight. So we'll be doing that next week once it gets fixed.
Thank you.
Yep.
Trustee Morris?
A couple of meetings ago, you talked about trying to sell off some of the dinosaurs in the fleet, or auction them. How'd that go?
I haven't done it yet. I was looking for approval, and we'll probably do it sometime this year. I just haven't had a chance to put the advertisement together. Actually, Trustee Ott has been sending me some some good websites that we could use. And we've been looking at options other than Craigslist, for example. There's other avenues we could do it through. So yeah, I think there was 3 or 4 pieces of equipment really on that list. So.
Rollard Associates might be a good one with one of their construction and contractor auctions to get the stuff down there when they have because I've watched some of those bids and people pay insane money for some of that stuff. And I'd rather be on the receiving end of the paying end of the insane.
Drop something off and pick something up on the way back.
Anyone else? Thank you for your update.
Thanks. Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Ramey.
Okay, good. Well, you know, I ever see everybody messing around with their microphones. I don't want to do that. So this is my May report. Flows were down at the wastewater plant by a couple 100,000 gallons. Really, the water plant we actually had like 5 free days, meaning from what we did in 2018 to 2019. This month is even better. So just from the extra rain, so we're happy about that. That's just less wear and tear. Plants are running good. The mulch should be out of the plant site by the end of July. There's just a big punch list order of what we're doing that we go through, and I think Carl's going to meet with them tomorrow. We got that meeting, or Thursday, we got the meeting here for the town center, so Carl's going to take care of that. And Dave, that was a real nice email that you sent on Carl and the guy that you've met him, the big tall guy, how he is in a construction meeting. He does take charge. He does take them to task. And we will get everything that we were told we will get. So, and David sent in a real nice email. On our capital projects, the elevated storage tank, we're waiting for the approval back from CDPHE, and then we'll decide how we move on from there. The RO pump overhaul came in greater than what we budgeted. What's that? Well, then we'll have to go through another process design report. Anyway, the RO pump overhaul came in too high, so we're looking at other avenues. And then the guys that installed the new membrane at the water plant, we had them come up and look at the membranes from the older ones that we were going to replace. He said there's fine, there's no reason to do that. But we didn't budget enough for the blending valves for the older ROs. So we'll probably switch those 2 accounts around and just do that. And then the analyzer, we do know which one we want. It's a non-reagent using chlorine analyzer for the Silver Peak booster station, but we do have to go through a CDPHE design approval. So that could take 6 months, only because we're adding treatment. Nothing else. Like when we put the booster station in itself, we weren't adding treatment, so that didn't have a review. But now that if we want to do that, we will have to go through a review. It's not a big deal. It doesn't cost a lot, but it just takes time to get through that process. And then the guys are actually working on the sink over at the water plant, so we'll have a new sink. Wastewater projects, collection systems have been done. Sewer line repairs, we got the videos to Martin to have them look at it to see what kind of issues we may have, any repairs that may come up. And then our DO, ORP, and SCADA system, we've got 3 vendors showing up Monday next week to go through the system. We're gonna give them a tour, so then that way we can get a bid for both of those projects. I think Steve ordered the UV system last week. So that'll take, what did they say, 12 weeks? Yeah, 12 weeks, and then once that comes in, we'll install that. And the AC unit at for the MCC panel at the main treatment plant, one of the guys that is coming up to show up for the SCADA DOORP, their company does do electrical equipment air conditioning. So it's the object of whether we have to cool the whole building or just a panel. So that'll be what we'll find out. And then the last thing, the King Street flow meter's been ordered. So that's it. It's a fun day in Lockbuoy.
Questions or comments? No, thank you for your update.
All right.
Mr. Stamey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of updates. We've a lot of development-related conversations and things moving forward in development community. We have had a preliminary meeting with Blue Lakes to discuss another phasing plan, up to 37 lots, anticipation of having some water available from Silver Peaks East, which we've had a pre-application meeting scheduled for Silver Peaks East to look at their replat of the lots that they're going to be removing. We also have our first pre-application meeting with FRICO on their annexation plat and site plan project that they will be bringing to the town. Looks like an interesting project. So those Snow Property, which is the area around the convenience store, we did get their final plat resubmittal, so we'll be moving forward now again. And I did attend a mandatory CDOT, which is their local agency IGA process, which relates to the I-76 interchange improvements that we're going to be starting doing the requirements for that project later this year and next year. So that's all I had right now.
Other updates from staff? Okay, Mayor Trustee comments. Trustee Counterman. Trustee Morris.
Just a quick comment, maybe more for the listening public audience. The past week, several staff members and board members attended the Colorado Municipal League Conference, which was a great educational opportunity for those of us that went. It was a great investment into our further education and ability to serve.
Trustee Ott. Trustee York. Trustee Jeffrey. And I had a couple of things. I did want to follow up with the board members. Our ice cream socials are officially going to be July 27th and August 10th. Based on some of the comments I received, I think we're going to do 1 to 3 p.m. in Berkshire, 4 to 6 p.m. in Silver Peaks on the 27th. And then on the 10th, from 1 to 3, we'll do probably Lockwood Park here. And then from 4 to 6, we'll do Bella Vista. And staff and I are still working out some of the logistics details on how we'll go about picking parks and keeping ice cream cold. But if you will reserve those dates and attend as many as you possibly can, that would be appreciated. Because I think we will be handing out the ice cream and chatting up with whoever decides to attend. But I plan to put that in my mayor's corner that I need to get to Debbie tomorrow, so. And then there was one other thing I was gonna comment on and I don't remember,
Oasis?
Yes, the Oasis night. So it looks like our Oasis, the night we're reserving at the Brighton Oasis Water Park will be August 10th. And I believe the time they said was 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. As long as the board, and I'm not seeing any objections to that, is okay with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and make that reservation. August 10th? Yeah, it was the only night they had available. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to note is two things about CML. First, I echo all of the comments that Trustee Morris had. It was a great learning opportunity. I'm glad the citizens of our town afford us that opportunity so that we can bring those ideas back to town. I wanted to congratulate Mayor Pro Tem Ott on his 100 hours certificate. And Trustee Strock, who's not here tonight, also got a 60-hour certificate for their participation in numerous things. And then the last takeaway from that was one of the sessions I went to was about the importance of the upcoming census, particularly in making sure people respond so that we get adequate representation at all levels of government and that we get adequate funding from all levels of government. One of the big things they talked about was ensuring that your minority populations are actually participating. And for that reason, they are encouraging local communities to form committees to help encourage the Get Out the Count effort. And I've reached out to them to see if they will come to one of our future meetings to talk to us a little bit about what those committees do and what they look like. I'm hoping we'll be able to do that at our July meeting. Other than that, do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Second to adjourn to the work session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned to the work session.